Next up, we got how the World Baseball Classic changed baseball forever. Now, look, we just reacted to the World Baseball Classic. It was about a couple games I reacted to. I didn't react to the full thing. I wish I already did. But I only watched the last couple games, which I loved it still. You know what I'm saying? All the teams play from each nation. And it was lit. You know what I'm saying? We got Ohtani out here doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? Hey, really can't hate on the man, bro. He a two-way all-star. You know what I'm saying? But today we got how to change the word baseball. If y'all want more baseball content, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button. All right? Hey, let's see what it been time about.
The 2023 World Baseball Classic had everything. Players became national heroes for countries they're not even from, while others have become some of the...
Bro, I was wondering that. So you don't have to be from the actual country then to play for it? So how does it... because I don't really know that much about it. So how does that work?
The most hated people in their country just because of one mistake. It's featured bad blood and beanballs from countries that have been beefing for hundreds of years. It's featured political protests that have caused players to fight back against fans. It's featured of school teachers and
yo, he threw a baseball like that.
To fight back against
Why
fans.
do you do that? Yo, he's a business society, bro. Y'all fans think that the players will do that. Nah, bro.
It's featured a team of school teachers and electricians going up against the greatest player on earth and winning, and literally featured the most watched game in baseball history. But believe it or not, people in America still want this tournament canceled.
It doesn't mean anything. For what? An exhibition tournament because it's something Diaz likes to do? Maybe he likes to play basketball too. Is that a good idea?
Ever since it was created in 2006, America has viewed the World Baseball Classic differently. The first final was watched by 60 million people in Japan. That's more than any World Series in history. When Carlos Ruiz said he wasn't going to play for his home country of Panama, the president of Panama called him and told him to play. So he did. 5 out of 6 players in the Dominican Republic said that winning the WBC was more important than winning the World Series. The other...
See, now I feel about this. Like, I didn't even know about this, actually. It's really pretty crazy. I don't know why, but it's funny because I don't know why I have never started reacting to baseball content, bro. I literally played baseball and all that stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know. The way I looked at, like, baseball, I didn't think people really watched it. But people do. I'm thinking nobody watched baseball, bro. It's dedicated fan. I didn't even know, bro. I'm thinking it's just football, you know what I'm saying, basketball, maybe a little soccer. You feel me? You know, I know obviously people watch baseball, but I didn't know people was like really dedicated to watching baseball. And I'm like, bro, hold on, I'm finna start watching baseball. Look, bro, if the USA hate the World Baseball Classic, it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the USA, but we gonna stand up, all right? I'm gonna be the best reaction channel for baseball. How about that? You know what I'm saying? From USA too. I got y'all baseball. Hey, all the baseball. Hey, bro, I got y'all.
Everyone said they were tied. But in America, when players left spring training to be in the first WBC, the Yankees put a sign in the outfield apologizing to fans, saying they didn't approve of the tournament and told fans they could complain by writing a letter to the commissioner's office. The WBC was created by MLB. The league promotes it and encourages every player to play, but MLB teams hate it because their players are at risk of injury. Typically, MLB teams will do anything they can to prevent players from playing, which has caused America's biggest stars to sit out the tournament year after year, making the WBC gain the reputation in America of just being an exhibition.
See, how y'all feel about this? Let me know in the comments. Me personally, I feel like, bro, this is like, okay, I understand what they're saying because they won't get hurt, but it's kind of just like, bro, it's like a activity, like a fun activity. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you go to work every day, right? And then this one day you have like a fun day where everybody, you know, does something, but it's still work though. But you know what I mean? So obviously it's like people can get hurt, but people get hurt in a regular game too. You know what I'm saying? So if it was going to happen, it was going to happen. As long as nobody playing dirty, we have nothing to worry about. You know what I'm saying? People barely get hurt in baseball anyways. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro.
Fortunately for teams, this year, all of that changed. It started in a mostly empty stadium in Taiwan, where many fans who watched on TV were pissed about this guy. He was blaring a horn in support of Cuba, which to many people was extremely annoying. To him, it was passion. He's a Cuban superfan who follows the team to almost every Olympic, international, and even junior tournament for the past 17 years. But 48 hours into this tournament, Cuba was basically eliminated, going 0-2. The players apparently blamed the fan, thought he was cursed, and literally did a ritual on him and the horn to undo the curse. This actually worked. The Cubans got hot and faced Taiwan in a game that decided who advanced in front of what may be the most electric crowd you'll ever see. They have cheerleaders, blare music on full blast, and chant the entire game. This is the crowd during a game where they were losing by 8 runs. Their best player, Yu Chang, originally opted not to play to focus on making an MLB roster. But
what was that? No. We're not going past that. Yo, what was that?
Originally opted not to play to focus on
on the ground like that,
making an MLB roster.
Bro, you know how hard this start is? What the? Yo.
But got so much backlash from people in Taiwan, he changed his mind and absolutely went off. He won MVP of the pool, became a hero in Taiwan, and put them in a position to advance with a win against Cuba. Unfortunately for them, despite being outnumbered by thousands, the Cuban superfan powered Cuba to dominate Taiwan and move on to the next round. But even though they were eliminated, the crowd continued doing chants well after the game ended. Cuba moved on to the next round in Japan, where the story was, you guessed it, Japan. In America, it's hard to understand the magnitude and cultural significance this team is having on their country. The talent on the roster is unlike anything Japan's ever seen. They're widely considered the best Japanese team of all time. They're essentially the Bulls in the 90s, the 2004 Red Sox, or the 1927 Yankees, but instead of representing a single city, they represent the entire country. An insane 36 million people watched them play in an exhibition game leading up to the tournament. Ohtani himself gained 2 million followers on Instagram in the past month alone. Lars Nootbaar is a rookie on the Cardinals. In America, he's relatively unknown. In Japan, he's become an overnight celebrity. Nootbaar is from California, but his mother is Japanese. Growing up, several Japanese high school players stayed with their family when they played in a tournament in California. One of these players ended up being Masahiro Tanaka. From this point on, his dream was to play for Japan.
Konnichiwa. My name's Lars Nootbaar. I hope I do good during All-Stars and I'm going to represent my country for Japan.
15 years later, he is getting that chance and became the first non-Japanese player to ever play on the national team. There was paparazzi waiting for him when he arrived in Japan. He introduced them to his signature pepper grinder celebration, which has become so popular that pepper grinder sales in Japan have literally skyrocketed. Nootbaar has gone off for Japan, leading them to sweet pool play, where each one of these games was watched by over an insane 40% of the country, making this tournament more popular in Japan than the World Cup was. Their game against Korea was watched by an estimated 55+ million people in Japan alone. And once again, this rivalry got ugly. The first 2 World Baseball Classics were dominated by these 2 countries. Their games resulted in Japanese players getting intentionally hit, Korean players trolling Ichiro in relation to comments he made about Korea, and Korea literally planting a flag on the mound as Ichiro looked on in complete rage. Leading up to this tournament, a Korean player said Ohtani was so good, he might just hit him with a pitch, later clarifying this was a compliment disguised as a joke. But Japanese media took this as a direct threat, and on a 3-0 count, a ball came directly at Ohtani. He couldn't help but think he was being targeted, and earlier in the game, Lars Nootbaar was also hit by a pitch, taking obvious exception to it. Japan thought they were being thrown at. For Korea, that's really all they could do. They lost 13-4. And for Korea, things got even worse. Baseball in Korea is in complete disarray at the moment at what people in the country are calling the biggest embarrassment in the team's history. This all started in 2021 during the Olympics. After a disappointing performance, the broadcast caught their first baseman, Kang Bak-ho, on the bench chewing gum and looking disinterested. Losing was so embarrassing for Korea, this was seen as a massive scandal and became national news. So
just because you think nobody was watching. Just when he thought, though, I know he thought that. He thought nobody was watching. He just, you know what I'm saying?
To the WBC, Korea and Kang Bak-ho were determined to fix their image. However, in their first game, they fell behind and needed a rally. And in the 7th, when his team needed him most, Kang Bak-ho hit a clutch double. Celebrated, came off the bag by an inch, and was called out. The next batter got a hit, which...
That's what you get? Nah, bro. Nah, don't ever add you. Oh, you look, bro. You celebrate after you say timeout to the ref. That's what you celebrate. This dude
would have scored the tying run, and since Korea only ended up losing by a single run, this was the difference. And to make matters worse, they ended up losing the tournament by a single game, meaning that this inch might have literally cost them the tournament. Japan, on the other hand, marched through pool play without competition. In fact, their biggest competition might have been a team that was literally made up of electricians. Czech Republic is a team of amateurs who play in their home country, a country where baseball was literally banned by the government until the 60s. After the fall of the communist government, baseball was allowed to blossom, and finally, in 2023, they earned a right to play in the WBC for the first time ever. Their manager is a neurologist. Their center fielder is a high school geography teacher. Their third baseman is a financial analyst, and their starting pitcher is an electrician. He faced Roki Sasaki, probably the best pitcher in Japan, who almost pitched back-to-back perfect games and throws up to 102 miles per hour. Andrej Satoria, the electrician on Czech Republic's fastest pitch, was 79 miles per hour. Despite the insane odds against him, he came out in the first and struck out the first two batters of the game.
I mean, it really don't matter if you do have, like, you say, like, good, I mean, not good, but fast pitching. It don't really matter. As long as you can throw, like, curveballs and, you know, change-ups, good pitches. It don't really matter how fast it is. You can literally throw a slow ball and you can still strike somebody out. Literally.
Got out of a jam in the second. Then in the third, while protecting a 1-0 lead, struck out Shohei Ohtani on 3 straight pitches. Japan still ended up blowing them out 10-2. On the other side of the bracket in America, things were a lot more competitive. Team USA was a massive favorite in their pool. They faced Mexico in their second game. The first batter, Randy Arozarena, came up to the plate. As a friendly gesture, he tried to shake catcher Will Smith's hand. He refused. Arozarena then went off for 2 doubles and 3 RBIs in an absolute...
this is the video we watched. We watched this. I think we started literally at like the playoffs. That's when we started watching.
Blowout against Team USA. Since then, he's become MVP of the tourney, leading Mexico further than they have in their history. But less than a year ago, he wasn't even Mexican. He's become beloved, rolling up in cowboy boots, wearing a luchador mask in the dugout, and literally signing balls and massive baseball gloves in the middle of the games. Arozarena is from Cuba, but after earning less than $40 a month at the highest level of baseball, he decided to defect. He ended up in Mexico, where he had to borrow other players' gloves and cleats while trying out for teams because that's how little money he had. From there, he signed an MLB contract and has produced an MLB ever since he arrived. But every offseason, he returns to Mexico, where he now lives. He's been trying to complete the long process of becoming a citizen for years. But in
so I guess oh, so you have to be so you don't have to technically be Mexican, but you just have to live there. Okay, I understand now. I understand. So if you live in Mexico, you can play for Mexico, but you have to be a citizen there. I think that's what you're trying to say.
2021, he went on Instagram and asked the president directly, saying if he allows him to become a Mexican national, he promises he would play for Mexico in the WBC. And the president agreed. Arozarena was nationalized within a few months, and less than a year later, he's on Team Mexico. The World Baseball Classic was so important to them, the president of the country literally made a player a citizen just so he could play for the team. In America, the opposite was true. Only 1 out of the top 20 American-born pitchers decided to play. The ones who did pitch were under orders from their clubs not to pitch too many innings to risk injury, but pitch enough innings to be ready for...
I forgot. See, somebody in my comment section actually did say that. They only said the only reason we lost to Japan was because we didn't have no pitchers. Now, I don't know that for sure. I don't know that. Y'all can argue about it in the comment section. Y'all can let me know too. If we had our pitcher, do y'all think we would have won Japan? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I haven't seen, you know what I'm saying? I don't watch baseball. I'm trying to get into it, so I wouldn't know. But y'all let me know in the comment section. But I forgot already. He said that USA do not like that. That's why. I was wondering why our best pitchers wasn't playing. You know what I'm saying? I was wondering that. Now it makes sense. So they said that we had like what a 20th string pitcher play.
For this
is our last resort
to risk injury, but pitch enough innings to be ready for the season. So instead of strategically using pitchers in a way that gave them the best chance to win, Team USA had to waste some of their best pitchers in the blowout, causing backlash from fans and the media, saying not only do our best pitchers not play, the ones who do aren't even allowed to try their hardest. So what's the point of even having a tournament? Some even calling the tournament a glorified exhibition. In the Dominican Republic, 5 of their top 10 pitchers were participating, with a lineup that was considered by many the best of all time. And in an elimination game, they squared off against Puerto Rico in one of the most electric games ever seen. Puerto Rico was a massive underdog, but after a solo home run from Christian Vasquez, as well as an inside-the-park home run from Francisco Lindor, the underdogs felt they had a chance. The crowd had the energy of a Winter League game, but in a sold-out 36,000-person stadium. Puerto Rico was able to hold off the Dominican Republic's offense and brought in the best closer in the world to close them out in the 9th. The crowd went absolutely crazy. He struck out Ketel Marte, then struck out Gene Sakura, and pumped up the crowd even further. Then he struck out Teoscar Hernandez, pulling off one of the biggest upsets in the country's history, a game that was watched by an insane 61% of the homes in Puerto Rico. But just when everything was going right, Edwin Diaz went down with a knee injury during the celebration. After the game, it was discovered...
Bro, you know how many times I've seen people literally go down because of celebration? I've seen that so many times, bro. That is crazy.
Would miss the rest of the season, and the entire baseball world collectively lost their minds.
Let's get one thing clear. Nobody gives a about the World Baseball Classic.
Fans and media in America started questioning the WBC.
This result is unacceptable. It doesn't mean anything. For what? An exhibition tournament because it's something Diaz likes to do?
Pool play alone had an attendance over 1 million fans, a 98% increase from the last WBC. America saw a 40% increase in TV ratings from pool play in the following tournament, but some fans in America still wanted the tournament gone. And to make matters worse, while this storm was happening, Team USA was in the middle of losing an elimination game, a defeat that would crush the excitement of the tournament in America even further. But just when nothing looked like it could go right, Mike Trout came through, got USA the lead, and brought them to the next round. Reports came out that Team USA was changing their philosophy. The team scrambled to call major league clubs, asking them to relax the restrictions on their pitchers. Teams had previously told USA that if their pitcher warmed up in the bullpen, they had to come into the game, because warming up multiple times could increase injury risk. Team USA's pitchers told their coaches to ignore the instructions from their major league teams. And despite the negativity surrounding the tournament, multiple players told reporters that these games were some of the most fun and important games in their entire lives. And what followed was absolutely insane. In the quarterfinal, USA faced Venezuela. They immediately went off, scoring 3 runs without getting a single out. After, Venezuela fought back, and America's worst nightmare came true. Their pitching collapsed. Daniel Bard entered the game, hit 2 batters, walked another, and allowed a run without getting a single out. Venezuela went up by 2, and just when it looked like
it's funny, I got a copyright strike for this game, bro. by a random company. A random ass company. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the copyright strike is even real or authentic. But I'm not even going to, because I got to go to court and all that shit. I'm like, bro, you know what? But if it happen again, though, hey, that company watching, bro, don't play, bro. Let it slide this time. But next time,
was done for good.
Court,
Trey Turner did this.
The 0-2 to Turner, and he throws this one deep left field. Trey Turner.
In what may be the biggest WBC home run to date, he secured Team USA's spot in the semis where they trashed Cuba in a blowout. They waited for the result between Japan and Mexico, and once again, the underdog surprised everyone. Mexico rallied behind a 3-run homer, and when it looked like Japan could come back, Randy Arozarena made the catch of the tournament, silencing the Japanese. Eventually, Japan did come back, tying the game. But Mexico immediately took the lead again and only needed 3 outs to end Japan's legendary team for good. But after a leadoff double by Shohei Ohtani, Munetaka Murakami hit a ball that will go down in Japanese history. Japan's quarterfinal game was watched by 62.5 million people in Japan alone. According to Forbes, that's 7 million more viewers than the most watched World Series ever. In all likelihood, this game against Mexico was watched by even more, and by securing a championship against USA, setting up a matchup between Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, it was pretty much guaranteed that the final would be the most watched baseball game ever. Right off the bat, USA struck first. Japan responded with a home run themselves, then tacked on another. They held a 3-1 lead for most of the game, but after an absolute bomb by Kyle Schwarber, USA was back in the game. As the 9th inning approached, Shohei Ohtani warmed up to close out the game in what would be the perfect ending for Japan. And after recording the first 2 outs, his teammate, Mike Trout, came to the plate. And in an ending that you couldn't have scripted any better, on a 3-2 count,